Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. I do hope you're well and looking forward to another episode of Tiny Zoo. So today we are working down here. As you can see, I've already done a bit of construction. So today we're building a bongo habitat. I love bongos. They are awesome looking antelope. Let me just show you them. There they are. Look at them. Great looking things. I've been wanting to put some of these into the zoo for a while, so I thought now was a good time for that. I had a nice little gap here and had a bit of an idea of roughly what I wanted their enclosure to look like. So fairly straightforward. I wanted a basic structure in the middle with 4 entrances that they could get into and sleep inside, and then just a nice simple circular pathway around the outside. So this building is made up of the basic wooden wall pieces, but I wanted to decorate it a bit, so I've used these small plank pieces. What are these? Planet Zoo planks, thin. And I've just made a sort of a grating pattern at the bottom and then a cross pattern there. I'm not doing it on these small pieces here. Thought that would look a bit over the top, but on all of the big panels I've done that just to give it a little bit of texture. And then on these the archway pieces here, I'm quite happy with what I came up with here. I wanted these because these archways themselves, you know, they're a bit plain, aren't they? I've always liked the idea of having sort of an edging to these things. So this is what I came up with. I used these small planks. These are the tiny Australian planks, and I've just created a sort of an edge to the arch, and then I've duplicated it back here, and then I've put them sideways all up the middle as well to create this nice solid wooden arch, and then I've duplicated it onto both archways on all 4 of the entrances. And yeah, it's a decent start. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking so far. The rest of the habitat will mainly be vegetation, some trees, shrubs. There'll be a bit of water coming in over here as well. So yeah, it's mainly the focus on this habitat is all going to be about this building in the middle here. And so far it's coming together really nicely, actually. So let me load up my next save point and see what I got up to next. Right, so the building is pretty much there now. I've gone with this, which roof is this? The metal clad roof. Now actually I do change the colour of this roof later on, but I actually think I can't quite remember when it is, but I think I actually changed the colour of this while I was working on my next habitat. So at the moment it's red, but I'm pretty sure it ends up being black, but just enjoy it being red for now. It's just a bit too bright, I decided in the end. Kind of stood out too much. But anyway, what else have I done? So on the inside, it's a little bit tricky in here because because of the way I did these archways here. So let me show you. So these pieces here are these L-shaped, sort of upside down L shapes. And so because I ended up with the sideways sticking bit, I kind of linked it together with extra pieces here. And so it created this pattern in here of this sort of cross pattern, which actually I know I could get away with it because now we have these new pieces now, don't we, that look like these wall pieces but they're not gridded, so we can actually fill in gaps like this without having to use these pieces. But actually, for the sake of the structure of the building, it made sense to have these nice solid beams here holding up all this weight of the roof. So I didn't mind it so much, but it did mean that I had to fill in these gaps. So I've used these little bamboo wall panel pieces here as a ceiling, so that's just filling in all the gaps there and in the archways here as well. And then some bedding on the floor. So really simple. I think I'll come back and put some lights in here later on as well. But that building is basically there now. Just done a little bit of work outside, so the building itself is actually just slightly raised up now, so I've just slowly landscaped it upwards there, so it's at the top of a slight mound. I've done a bit of painting, as you can see, so it's kind of worn where the bongos would be walking, so coming out of the entrances and all around the edge, because animals always patrol their territory. And I have just put in a little bit of water at the end here as well, just enough for the animals to get into. I think the bongo can swim, so they will come down into here and have a bit of a swim through. It's not particularly deep, but that's fine. It's enough for them, so they can have a drink and a little swim, or a little splash at least, in there. And I've also decided, because these new pieces, these are great. These were put in I think the last expansion, if not the one before, can't remember. But these are great things. They just look fantastic, even if they're not always going to be practical. They do look really, really good. So I decided I wanted some of these here. So I plonked them down, and there's going to be a lot of decorating going on to make them look nice. But yeah, I thought it'd be they're a very handy piece to use, you know, if you want somewhere where people can sit down, eat their lunch, and just watch the animals. So it's something that I'll probably use more now that these are in the game. So yeah, so people can sit down here and watch the bongos wandering around. Right, let's move on. I can't actually remember what I get up to next, but let me load up my next save point, shall we? And let's take a look. Oh look, we have some bongos. I love these things, look at them. They just look cool, don't they? Look like they've been painted. So we have, what do we have? We have Asher, we have, oh, I don't know how you pronounce that, Hoser, I suppose. Bajaid, Alil, and Dulani. Lovely. So we've got 5 little bongos walking around in here now, and I've done quite a lot of vegetation work. I've also put the fence in, so I've used an in-game fence here. I do a lot of custom fencing, but sometimes you just go with the in-game stuff because it's just the right fence. And in this case, this is exactly the look that I wanted for the bongos. So yeah, it made sense just to use the in-game fencing. So that's what I've done there. As far as the trees go, I wanted something really big here, and I wanted, you know, a tiny zoo. The whole point of tiny zoo is that it's very sort of compacted and squashed. Everything's quite small. And lots of vegetation, as you can see. There's an awful lot of greenery everywhere. But I just wanted to try something a bit different. So I've gone with a couple of these massive trees. I can't remember what they are actually. Wimber trees, that's it. Just something a little bit different. And I really like them. I think they look fantastic. They give a nice bit of shade at the right time of day. So yeah, it's really good. And you know, I dare say they may not be the right biome. I don't know, what are they? They're a tropical biome. But that doesn't bother me. It's, you know, it's all about the look for me. I'm not really too fussed whether they're the correct biome for the animal or not. So yeah, so 2 of those in here, and then we've got some nice silver birch here, and another little cluster of them over here and over here as well. I love these silver birch, they look great. And then I've just gone for some basic little shrubs here and there dotted around. Nothing too much. I've got, hang on, is that a floating bush? Can't have that. Okay, well, there's no point in me correcting on this save point because this isn't my latest save game, but I'll have to go back and make sure that's stuck back in the ground. Yeah, so yeah, just a few bushes dotted around. Not too much because these animals come from, I think it's the plains of Africa. I'm pretty sure they originate from. Let's just double check, make sure I'm not being an idiot there. Yeah, it is. It's Africa, isn't it? Yeah. So, you know, they're used to being in sort of open scrubland and the plains of Africa, so they wouldn't want too much vegetation anyway. So they need plenty of room for running around in. They're quite big animals as well. So, yeah. So I didn't want to fill it up too much with shrubs, just enough so that it looks interesting. You know, it gives them something to nibble on, a little bit of shade here and there. So that's what I've done with that. Yeah, still plenty more to do. Still got obviously the water to decorate here. I've got the pathway. I've got the edge of the thing here, and then I've got a lot of work to do on the outside here as well, particularly around this seating area. Also just filled in these little gaps. So this triangle here has got one of these lovely umbrella trees in it now, and was there, I can't remember if this one was new or not. This one, I might have put this one in here in this save point, I can't remember. Or was it this one? No, this one over here. This is another umbrella tree that's gone in over here. I think that one there was probably already there. I can't remember. Oh yes, I've also done this. So these 2 keeper huts were over here originally, so I've moved them into the middle here, and I've just linked the pathway. So I've created another little triangle here, and it's just comes along and links into here. So you've got the option now of going up here into this sort of viewing platform to look at the ibex over here, or you can just stay on the ground and come around this way instead. It just gives you a little option. So there's a lot of decorating that I need to do here as well, and all that will be in this episode. So plenty more to do and to look at. So without further delay, let me move on and load up my next save point. Okay, so I've done a little bit more decorating here. As you can see, I've decorated the water. So I put some nice these aquatic rocks in here, or the faux rocks, aquatic rocks. Am I going mad? Which one is it? Hang on. No, it's both. Aquatic faux rock. Yeah, okay. The number of times I use those things, I keep forgetting what they're called. And then I've sunken in my usual favourite pieces, the planted wood panels down in the bottom here. Put some nice mossy rocks around here and a few ferns dotted around as well. Simple detailing, but every bit of water needs that, just to make it look a bit nicer. I've also put in some enrichment items. So we have a couple of these little carry balls. This is actually a scratching post tree that I've added in here near the water. We have a large feeding bowl here. We have one of these. Is this actually a feeding one? I think it is a plant screen. Yeah, so I think they actually eat the hanging plants there. We've got another feeder over here. Another hanging. Another little picking up ball thing there. We have a football, we have a scratching post, and over here I put one of these dangling feeders in the right place so that the people sitting here can watch the animals eating from the feeder there. I thought that made sense. Inside I have added in lights, like I said I did, so those lights are in there now. Let me just set it to nighttime and you'll see it's just a very gentle glow. Didn't want anything too bright or whatever in there. It's a bit funny that it all kind of shines out through the walls, but you can't do much about that, unfortunately. But yeah, so at least there's just a little bit of light in there. There we go. So yeah, it's coming together pretty nicely. Oh yes, I also did the edge, the fence here, so you can see there's rock underneath the edge of the fence there as well. Because we do not like seeing the edge of pathways. If they've got a curb on, they can look okay, but obviously when they're just curbless like this, it looks terrible having the two things just blend together like that. So there's always got to be something along the edge, and this rock is the easiest way of doing it, to be honest. So that is what I've done all the way around the edge there. So there we go. So you can see it's starting to look like a really nice habitat already, actually, and it's not far off being finished. In fact, the habitat itself, I think that is basically done now. It's simple, and you can see the bongos are loving it. They are running around and having fun. They've got plenty of space. They've got food, they've got water, they've got toys, they've got shelter. So yeah, so they're happy. They are happy. So mainly left to do now is detailing. So we have the viewing platform here, and we have our little keeper huts over here. So let me move on and see what I got up to next. Right, so with the viewing area here, I decided I wanted to add some pathways in on each side. So this is going to lead off into other areas of the zoo, and so I wanted something around here, something solid. So I went with this new wall. This is the new rustic wall, European rustic stone wall that was added in the last DLC. So I've shaped sort of flower beds. And used the soil up the middle here, so you've got one on each side there, and then I've just brought them into the middle here as well, made this sort of middle central piece, and then a nice solid bit of backing along the back side there. So as well as the fencing pieces, you've got the wall there, making it extra sturdy. Make sure no toddlers go wandering off underneath the bar and just fall off the back. So that now looks like a decent seating area, doesn't it? I think that looks really nice, especially once I've actually got some shrubs in the side here. But I also wanted to continue a bit of this work sort of between here and this pathway, and then again here sort of in this corner. So that's something that I'm going to do as well. And I also wanted to build a shelter up over the top. So that is also something that I got done. But yeah, I think that's a pretty cool way of using these steps. I think they look really nice when you build a sort of an artificial surround for them there. So you can imagine you're sitting on here watching the bongos. As you can see, they're wandering around. I think it'd be quite a nice relaxing place to sit down and have your lunch, wouldn't it? You've got a bit of a waterfall in the background over there as well. Yeah, they're pretty relaxing creatures to watch, actually, bongos. Don't get up to too much, but you know, they're interesting. So yeah, it's all good. Right, okay, so that was just a small cut there, not a lot of progression really, but I wanted to show you the sort of the progress that I'd made before you see the final result. So I think my next cut will probably be the finished result of this area here, and then the final cut will be me planning the zookeeper huts over here, and just finishing off all the detailing in that area there. So let me just load up my next save point, and we'll see how this ends up looking. Right, so we've got quite a lot done in this update actually. So our seating area here, as you can see, is now finished. So the shrubs down the side, just mixed it up a bit and got a few just basic shrubs there, and then I built this lovely canopy. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So it's a basic girder structure. So this is the metal girders, which I've not really used that much in the game, but I thought in this case, because it's you know, it's a fairly odd looking shape structure, it would need to be nice and strong, so that's what I've gone with. The structure needed to be strong, so I went with metal. There we go. And this in the middle is the African sheet sunshade square. Well, an odd name, but yeah, I thought they looked pretty decent as a sort of a canopy there. So yeah, very happy with how that turned out. And then down the sides here, I just wanted to fill in the gap between that area and then this pathway here. So I've used these nice little African wall pieces here to make a barrier all the way down the side. Along the back I've used, actually I don't even know what these are, New World fence, yeah. So those go along the back to make the back of the flower bed, and then it's a nice simple flower bed with just some shrubs. What are these ones? I can't remember. Hawthorns at the back here, and then we've got some ferns, some what have we got? I can never remember the names of all these different plants. We have some of the aloe vera. We have these little purple ones that I use quite a lot. The Alpine Facelia. I'm not sure if that's pronounced right at all. And then the sea holly here as well. So yeah, it's a nice simple area. A couple of big trees in it as well. Some of the, I've forgotten what these are, the poplar trees. That's it. And then I've done the same over on the other side here as well. Just capping off this corner here. Got some benches and some bins down at the front. Also put one of these speaking stands here. It makes sense. This is the sort of thing you would find where you have a seating area like this. You would find this sort of thing, so people can come do speeches. People could sit here and learn about the animals while watching them. So that's that area sort of done now. I think that looks really nice actually. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. I've done a few little details as well. Put some drains in along the edges here. I've also built these small information boards telling people about them. So you've got one there, you've got one down on this corner, so when you're walking along here you can read that. I love that you can get up close and personal with the bongos. I don't think they'd be dangerous animals in real life, so you probably would be able to get this close to them through the bars. There'd probably be signs hanging on here saying don't put your fingers through the wire, but those aren't things that we've got in the game, so I can't really do that. None of the signs that we have that you can customize are particularly good for that sort of thing either, unfortunately. I'm quite surprised there aren't more things like that in the game. I don't think there's like a... Actually, do you know, I might even be wrong with that. I know there are a couple of signs, aren't there? Sort of information things. Let's have a look. Just while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, see, they're barrier signs. I might be going mad. Maybe I'm thinking that there aren't any, but then my mind, something in the back of my mind is just saying, actually, there are a few little information boards somewhere. No, there's not, is there? Not that I can see, unless they're somewhere different. I would assume they would be in that bit, though. But there may not be. I might be going mad. Maybe they're in something else, but yeah, I'm not going to bother looking now. But yeah, it'd be nice to have more little signs like that, sort of. You know, no touching the animals or something like that. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, so again, drains along the base here as well. I think that's kind of it for this update. Finished off the triangles here as well with some more of the umbrella trees, and then another one at this end here. So that is that habitat and the viewing area done now. So you can see it's quite overgrown still, but I think you can probably see now why I changed the colour of the roof. I think if you look at the zoo in general, it doesn't have a lot of bright colours. You've got another red building down here, which is about as bright as it gets. And so I just found that it was just a little bit too in your face, which is why I do come back and change that. I'll have to keep an eye on that, so that will be in the next episode, because I'm pretty sure it was while I was building the next habitat, which is over this side of the park. I'm pretty sure I came back and swapped it then, but well, I'll keep an eye on that and let you see it once it's done. Right, so the last thing to do in this episode is this area here with the 2 keeper huts and just decorating this. So that is going to be our last cut, so let me go and load that up and show you what I did. Right, I'm really happy with how this turned out actually. I tried to do something a bit different with it. So I used the brick walls for the building. That's quite a common thing, and the asphalt roof. I know I've done that before and I don't mind that. It's a good look because it's kind of that generic work building look, you know. It's functional. That's the word I'm looking for. It's functional. But I'm always trying to come up with new sort of creative things to do with these buildings. So I'm really happy with this. This piece here is the Arctic wooden roof curved fascia. So you can see I've just turned it sideways and put it in there as a sort of a supporting beam, and I think that looks really cool. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with how that all fitted together actually. Given the doors some frames, a couple of lights, and then what I've actually done here is I've just put a fake door here because I had this big gap and I didn't want to just put in another flower bed. I thought try and mix up the look of the building a little bit. So I've just added on this sort of extra room. I mean there's nothing in it. It's just, you know, just nothing. But yeah, it's just an extra door. It just makes it look like the actual building is bigger than it needs to be. But yeah, I don't mind doing that sort of thing. I quite like that. I'll put this clock on as well. Again, just something a bit different. Let the guests know what time of day it is. A little switch here and the light, a little bit of ivy coming up here. And then I was pretty pleased with how I used the little pieces here as well. So these are little breeze blocks. And I just used them to create a small pathway there basically, because I couldn't really do anything else here that looked good. I tried actually using this path and sort of bringing it into here, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't look right. So yeah, I just created an extra little pathway there with little sort of little, I don't know, concrete squares. You know, I don't know, it looks good, I like it. So there we go. I was pretty pleased with that. Shrubs, couple of these nice conifers. These are great trees for when you've not got too much sideways space and you need to add a bit of height. So there's a few conifers on each side. One small one at the front here, sort of freshly grown and hasn't reached the height of its neighbours yet. And some of these hydrangeas, try and get a bit of colour in here. So these are just raised up, so you can kind of sink down and see that they don't really, you know, they're not growing out of the ground here. I just raised them up to fill this gap along here, which is kind of nice. So when you're walking on this platform as well, you get the flowers just up behind you here, and then they sort of cascade down the rocks here, between the rocks and the building, down to the ground level. And then you just got some basic ferns and other little things down here. Lined it with log roll all the way around here as well. And then just did the same on this side, just a few hydrangeas, a couple of conifers and a few ferns. So there we go. So that's really simple, but I'm really pleased with how that that sort of blends in and looks. So yeah, very pleased with that. Filled in the little triangles again. All the triangles have these lovely umbrella trees in around this area, because they just look great, don't they? And I love these triangles. I love doing the pathways like this where it branches off. Just gives people easy access to walk in different directions. You know, if you didn't have this bit here, people would have to come down here to come back up this way, which makes no sense. So you just put this extra little cross path in like that. So I do that in all my zoos, and I do that just everywhere because it just looks good. So there we go. That is our bongo habitat finished. So yeah, so the habitat itself was actually relatively simple and straightforward. The main area that I really enjoyed doing with this was this sort of bandstand area. This was something I've not really done before in this way. So yeah, really enjoyed doing that, and I'm really pleased as well with how this extra little zookeeper hut bit worked on the side here as well. So there we go. So let me give you an overview of the zoo so far. This is Tiny Zoo. Look at it. It's coming together really nicely. And I've got a few more exciting projects on the way for you. Spoiler alert, I've already done a few more habitats in this zoo. And now I'm just going back and recording my commentaries on them. So yeah, I've already done I've done a habitat over here. I think I've just done another one here. I've done 2 more over here as well. So yes, I've got another 4 habitats already done in this zoo, and I'm really pleased with all of them actually. So yeah, lots more exciting habitats on the way for you to enjoy, hopefully. So our next one is going to be over here. I'm just trying to think of what order I've actually done them in. What was it? I did this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, I think. Yeah, so the next one, sorry, I get confused. I go through these phases, you see. I spend a few days doing the building, and then I'll spend a day doing the commentaries for them. But by the time I get to do the commentaries, I've forgotten what order I did the habitats in. But yes, the next habitat is going in this area, just here, next to our, what have we got here? We've got our tigers in here, and we've got our, I think we had our, were these bonobos or are these chimpanzees? They're bonobos, aren't they? Yeah, bonobos. So our bonobos are here, and their neighbours in here, I will give you a spoiler, so close your ears if you don't want to know. In here is going to be the California sea lion in a large aquatic sea lion centre. So yeah, it's very different to anything else that's in the zoo so far. It's quite bright. It's very wet. So yeah, that's what's going to go in here. So that'll be our next episode. But for now, let's leave it there with our bongos right the way over this side of the zoo. Let me see if I can find a bongo to end on, shall we? There we go. There's a couple having their lunch. Ah, look at that. Using their little hanging feeder there. Brilliant. So I'll leave you there. So thank you very much. I do hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, you could smash that like button for me. That'd be fantastic. It just helps the video to get out to more people, and we're building as I speak. We've just passed 300 subscribers on the channel here, so I'm really pleased to have your support. I'm very grateful for your support. You know, the channel is building, and it can only be a good thing, can't it, to get more people joining our little community here. So yeah, so if you want to hit the like button, that'd be great. So there we go. Hopefully you can join me again in the next episode or over on one of my other gaming series. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.